Welcome everybody to the Latin Nerds Network. My name is Jose and this is my review for the Marvels, the newest MCU movie here. Now, I remember a time when the MCU was all about expectations, and due to many reasons, some issues behind the scenes, behind the camera, issues with the consistency or quality of the films, now it's just become hope. What I mean by that is before in the first three phases, the expectations were there. We were excited to go see an MCU film. I think the general audience was. They mostly deliver, not all the time, but they mostly deliver on the movies. Now we're just hoping that it's good. Well, hoping that it's okay. Because again, the consistency, the quality has gone down. Whatever plan or lack thereof with what they're doing with these last couple of phases just really hasn't done much. There's no cohesion there. There's no main storyline that's been presented in a way I think audience can connect to. And you're seeing that with, lower box office and obviously a lot of criticisms with a lot of the shows which have been at best mediocre, and I'm being nice. And a lot of the films just been inconsistent with a couple of gems here and there, but for the most part, haven't really been good here. But here we got the Mars, right? The Marvel sequel to, I guess it's a sequel to Captain Marvel, movie which I wasn't really high on. Of course, Brie Larson playing the titular role of Miss Marvel, or Captain Marvel anyway. And here she's paired up with Monica Rambeau, who we first saw in WandaVision. If you guys saw that show, she was actually the niece of Captain Marvel, which they showed her at a young age in the movie. And we have Miss Marvel, played by Iman Vellani, who I really like. And I like this show. It's one of the few shows I actually like for Marvel. And here they kind of throw them all together. And, they have their kind of powers all based out of light. And somehow their powers are intertwined where they start using them. And when they do, they end up switching places amongst each other, trying to figure out what's going on. In the meantime, we have one of the Kree, a villain. Again, we saw Ronan in the first Guardians of the Galaxy. She has, I guess, trying to destroy worlds to take their resources to save her own planet, all because of something that Brie Larson did to their planet at some point, which they really don't bother getting too much into, besides some, kind of flashback exposition in this movie. But that being said, that's kind of the layout of this film here. And I say this because I had low expectations for this movie. I didn't like the trailers. I heard a lot of negative stuff with reshoots, and the director possibly walked out at some point or whatever. And listen, ultimately, I gotta say, this met my expectations. This is not a good movie. It's not donkey shit. Don't get me wrong, but it's one that's it's man. It's not the worst MCU film, but it's definitely the worst written one, in my opinion. And that could be recency bias, but it's one of the worst ones for sure. And this has been a very divisive film. There are some entertaining elements about it. Some people are maybe gonna like this film, but if you're a cinephile, if you're into good writing, good editing, good story, nothing here exists in this film. This film, from that standpoint, is trash. It's bad. It is what it is. Again, not the worst thing, but it's still garbage in terms of if you take away just the pure the visuals and cool action sequences, things like that. I do like their characters. I think Brie Larson is better in this one than she was in the original. Vellani, of course, as Miss Marvel is great. She's really the standout. She's the only thing that really kept this movie afloat from being just utter crap. She really did. And I liked it, enjoyed it. I want to see more of her. I just wish all three of them, who work well together, were surrounded by a much better film, because overall, this is a mess, man. It's a freaking mess. And I don't know what the hell was going on. You can sense this movie was chopped up. You can sense when the reshoots were there. Even the CGI is not perfect, that's fine. But things just don't make sense. The story is truncated. There's no emotional beat. This movie goes from kind of family comedy to action to farcical comedy to musical. It's got so much here. It's like you pick a lane. The tone is all over the place, and I don't know what the hell is going on from time to time. And there's a couple of two big scenes that are just like, oh my god, I was rolling my eyes, and a couple people sitting next to me, they were just like laughing in a bad way. It's particularly the scene with this planet they go to, where they communicate via song, so they don't understand you unless you're singing. I don't, that felt like it belonged in a completely different movie and not this one. It tried to do so much and none of it really works. And in this movie, there's something good in here. There is something good somewhere. I don't know where, but it's somewhere in there. And they just kind of blow by a lot of the emotional stuff that really could hit home. A lot of exposition, which this movie probably needed a movie to come out before this one. To kind of set this up, and it doesn't. The villain, I figure her name, but who cares? Knowing her name is not going to change the fact that she's terrible. It's just a bad written villain. Nothing to do. It's a two-dimensional, mustache twirling, I want to save my planet kind of thing, and yada yada yada. She does nothing but just open portals to steal resources. That's all she does. It's there's nothing for her to do. And even Captain Marvel, it just seems like she's almost the complete opposite of what we got in the first film, which I still think is better. But it's just, again, that tone of that bad writing is like, what happened here? And even Samuel Jackson, who I love, as Nick Fury. And if you saw Secret Invasion, I'm sorry if you did it because that shit sucked, but fair enough. But if you saw him there, and even compared to his same role in his other films, here he seems like a complete different character. He just wrote him like the people who wrote this never saw anything that came before, and definitely didn't see Secret Invasion, which is the prelude to this, because it's like, I don't know, I didn't recognize who this guy was. He seemed like a completely incompetent, kind of jokey, who was just there. I don't get who this Nick Fury was, and nothing works here. The villain's terrible. The story is just all over the place. It's messy as hell. The tone is all over the place. There are some redeeming qualities, Vellani being one of them as Miss Marvel. Some of the action's okay, but even the whole explanation with the whole intertwined with the powers, and they're switching places every time they use it. It's inconsistent. They use the powers sometimes, they don't switch. Sometimes they use it and they do switch, but they always say it happens when you use your powers. Well, that's not what he's showing us on screen. I see him using the powers and nothing happens, and then they use it sometimes. It's just convenient. It's all MacGuffins, what this is. And even, Jessica Rambo, her powers, I say Jessica Rambo, Rambo, it just, I don't know what the powers are. No one knows. She can fly one time. She can, go through people one time, control light, and I don't know what she does, and she doesn't know what she does, and she admits it. They just write things in there just to make fit the narrative, what they're trying to tell, or to develop an action scene. And then you can't do that. It's like they're just doing this on the fly. And you can tell what a lot of these movies, like the editing is off, or they cut scenes out. It's bad. It's just a bad film. For some people, maybe entertaining, and I could understand that if you're not into that kind of thing, if you're not paying attention, if you're a casual fan, there is some stuff to like for them that kept this movie just barely afloat. Besides Vellani and even her family, who I really liked. But overall, it's a disaster. It's a mess. This movie is garbage. Honestly, it's not good. And I obviously not recommending. Even a diehard MCU fan, dude, skip it. Go watch it on Disney Plus. But if you are gonna go see it, I hope you guys like it. I really don't. Hope you guys may say I'm crazy and this is a great movie. Fine, fair enough. I doubt it, but it's possible. There is only one credit scene, the mid-credit scene at the end. So no reason to stick around to the end. Save yourself 5 minutes of your life. You can kind of, when you start laughing how bad the movie is, you got more time to do that now. But that being said, avoid it. It's not good. I'm disappointed at all. And even what it sets up at the end of the film, who cares? And if you're on the camp who they believe that the MCU, as it's known as, this is only going to add fuel to that fire. Different story for a different day. And the mid-credit scene, the cameo looks ridiculous. The CGI is awful, but whatever. It is what it is, and it doesn't mean anything at the end of the day as far as the bigger picture, and provides nothing for the bigger picture of the MCU moving forward. This is a throwaway film, and it should be thrown away. But if you guys watch it, let me know. Comment what you guys think, and of course, if you haven't done so already, subscribe below and feed money to go to the movies and talk about it afterwards. See you guys next time.